And just to real quick prove that the brown wires here is the issue, I've just unplugged it. I've repinned back into the green can D side, and you can see on our red trace it has went to sleep and continues to go to sleep. No activity, but we go back to that page here where we had this little drop and then come back up. Something does have a little bit of a bias voltage still there, so not really sure what's going on there, but we can see this is still having all the same activity with the gateway unplugged. Let's real quick see if we got any activity on one of the other lines. This was our can D gray and white, or is it D? I can't remember. It is 0 volts basically, so no activity there either. So clearly our problem is on this brown CAN bus wire, which was CAN B. So our issue is on CAN B, 100%. We need to go for CAN B, see what's going on there. So this vehicle is kind of a prime example why you need to learn how to use OE diagrams and not always the redraws, because on this vehicle I've got the diagrams pulled up of like the whole information bus. We've got our central gateway right here, and if we follow it around, it's going to go over here to this last page for this voltage distributor CAN connector. It doesn't tell me where it is or anything, it just tells me that. And as you can see, there's a lot of stuff here, and if we zoom out here, there's a whole lot of brown wires on this vehicle. Lots of places this could go, but I want to find this voltage connector and basically unplug this C3 connector, which coming back, let's go back over here, or let's see, not our C3, our C1 connector, yeah, that is coming over here to this right voltage distributor. So I want to eliminate this and everything else. So basically I'm only working with from the gateway module to this connector and these modules here to kind of break the circuit down, figure out where we need to go. Problem is I have no idea where this thing is. So using the OE diagram from the gateway module, N93 is our gateway module. Right here is our brown and brown red wire that comes over here to X30-7. So now that I know that it is going to X30-7, I could go to the page that's got all of the voltage distributors and find the one that says X30-7, which is in the driver kick panel here. And it is this bundle wire right here. So I've not yet pulled it out of here because I wanted to get the Pico on it to where I could watch what's happening while I'm messing with this and make sure it doesn't go away. So let me get my time base here back up to a couple of seconds so we can see this activity, and I can get in here. I'm gonna get this out and unplug the one that goes to the other voltage connector wherever it goes. All right, so we got our connector here. I don't really see any kind of labeling on this thing, but let's see if we can figure this out from our diagram here. we've got C1, 2, 3, 4, skips 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, skips 5, 6. Should have set, or says 5 is in no connect. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So maybe some of these are not equipped, maybe. But I'm pretty sure this side's going to be C1. That's what it is. This little thing does lock these in there. So that does need to come off to be able to get these to slide out. It's got like a little tab right here that gets held by. So we can actually see on the PicoScope that everything is still happening from our gateway module over here. And if we back probe this, that circuit's dead. So that has really reduced us down to our problem is one of these connectors. So let's see which one makes this go away. Still there. C3 should be the gateway. Maybe I'm looking at these backwards. Let's see. Who knows? That made a difference. Okay, this made a difference. Let's see what's right here. Yep. All right, whatever this is our problem. So let's plug all this back together. So whatever module this connector is going to is the problem, for sure. Well, now let's see if we can figure out what that is. I feel like this is C1. That's what I think. So let's go try to confirm that by going over here to this right voltage distributor. And from this, our right voltage distributor, not real sure which one that's going to be. I guess I'm going to have to look that up on the good old OE diagram. Alright, so the OE diagram here, we've got X30-7, which is this one here, and we got connector 1. It's going to X30/4. So X30/4 it's not even shown on here, so let's see if we can find that. Voltage CAN connector right. Passenger kick panel. So let's go to the passenger kick panel now. Okay. Alright, so let's unplug this. Let's see what our PicoScope looks like. Everything is dead, so I'm going to say that is C1. And if I take this and go into another connector, we should see activity on the PicoScope. And we do. So I'm pretty confident this one here is C1. So let's plug that one back up. And the diagram showed C8 goes to the next CAN connector basically. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Wouldn't you know it? 8 is empty. Let's look at the diagram a little more. I just love it when the connectors are in the correct locations. I mean, makes diagnosing so easy. Which I'm guilty of just sticking them back in there too, but this thing doesn't look like it's ever been apart, so you would think from the factory it would be right. So what I was talking about is C8 loops up here to this other voltage connector, but apparently it is not C8. So this is going to be fun. We've got C5 down here that also jumps to a couple different things, and also over to another voltage splitter basically. So let's see if we can find 5 and separate that out. And yeah, it says right here, so M class or GL, we're GL, so we should be the bottom 2, and that should go into C1 of this voltage connector. So let's unplug C5. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right here. And I can't even see the Pico, so y'all might have already seen it go away. I'm not sure. Let me get my red lead in here. Come on. Alright. And on the Pico, that's asleep. My pen in this good? Probably not. That's pretty interesting. Everything's asleep. Why did unplugging this make it all go to sleep? If I had an issue, I should still be seeing it on this one. Let's stick this back in here and see if it comes back. No, we don't have it back. Great. Well, it looks like I fixed it. Let's check our battery draw. Yeah, we went down to 1 amp. Man, I don't know. It's showing nothing. It don't make a whole lot of sense. Let's see if we can make it act up again. Alright, I got the gateway back connected, and I'm in the other CAN line here. So we've got our normal one that's 2.5 volt, okay? And you can see it's going to sleep, or trying, and then getting woke back up. And we've got our red trace here, that's the weird looking CAN that's going 0 to 4.5 basically. So let's go back over here and unplug that, see what happens here. So we're in that C5, let's unplug this. What is happening with the PicoScope now? Everything's asleep. How does that make sense? It's not making a whole lot of sense. Is there something else in that connector? No, that doesn't. This is not making much sense. Let's take our probe and stick it in one of these other connector terminals. Okay. Is anything showing on the scope? Negative. Nothing. So whatever it is, it's on that plug. But what is it on that plug? If I unplug it and everything goes to sleep, even that plug, that's really hard to figure out. Let's take it and plug it back up. Have we got anything on the scope here? No, everything's still asleep. I guess I need to get my scan tool back out, unplug that, communicate with the car, and see what doesn't communicate now. And I guess also maybe even if I think that is really C5, go back to the next connector, wherever that is, and unplug stuff there. Alright, you can see we've got our can going here. Got everything plugged back up. Gateway's plugged back up. I'm just kind of back probed in here. So that's why we got this here. This is our weird looking can. Everything over there is plugged back up. Everything here is plugged back up. The only thing unplugged is the seat. And as far as codes go, the only thing it's really fussing about is really stuff to do with this seat, I believe. But I want to basically kind of get an idea of how many modules are on here, which ones are grayed out, and which ones are not. So basically just going to take some pictures here, and of course I've got to do this in 3 pictures because there's so many modules on here. And now what I want to do, I want to go over there and I want to unplug that C5 connector, rescan everything, and see what's missing and possibly what things are going to be setting codes for lost comp. So that's the game plan. All right, let's so we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Our can is still weird looking, but now let's just hit this back button to basically reset all this and do a smart scan again. And when this is done, we'll compare and see what's not there. Alright, well, it has rescanned everything, and of course we've got a bunch of codes now. And I basically did a side-by-side comparison of everything, and of course we've got TPMS, OCP, rear, ERA, and KG that are no com now. And all that is in this connector here, all this here. So we've got TPMS, and we've got TPM control module. We've got KG, which is keyless go, I'm assuming. ERA, maybe, I'm not sure. ERA, we got folding bench here, and then rear end. And then this also kind of goes out around over here. So rear SAM. So maybe that's what the rear one is. I guess I could probably just click on these and figure that out. So, yep, rear SAM. And then what was the other one? ERA. Where was that at? ERA. Fold down backrest, so folding rear seat. Okay. And then overhead control panel, OCP, makes sense. So no comm, and these four are no comm. One of these I don't have apparently. Rear end closing door. Well, we've definitely got a rear end closing door. I mean, it almost looks like the data is sending us back to that door that kept popping up on the cluster while I was moving it around. So, like I said, follow the data. The data's taking us that way. Let's go to this, I don't know, let's see. Maybe when I unplug that connector, I don't know. I still can't. I can't wrap my head around that. Let's go to this other connector. See if we can break this down to one particular line, and yeah, follow the data. Here, I am crammed back here in the back. All right, the other connector is right there. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Yeah, you can kind of see the little connectors there. We got the PicoScope rolling up there, and I'm not sure if you guys can hear this, but this thing is clicking in here every now and then. There it goes. There it went. I don't know if you heard that or not, but I need to get in here and unplug one of these connectors. Let me see if I can get the whole thing out here. Probably not. No. I got such a tiny space. I got the door here. I got a seat here. I don't have much room. I really need to get this thing out of here. I'm trying to not open the door, because like I opened the door and the car went to sleep. I tried to shut it and it went to sleep once. I had to open it again and then shut it again for it to act up. So I really think we're going after this rear gate module. Is C3, and there's two of these that's in 3, so I'm not really sure which one is which. I know you guys ain't gonna really be able to see in here. I wish I could get that darn thing out of there. All right, got me a pick here now. Had to crawl back up there and grab my pick so I can try to unplug this thing. So there's that one. What happened with our PicoScope? PicoScope is still going. Things are still awake. Yep. So it's not that one. Let's get this guy plugged back in here. All right, let's get this other number 3 possibly. All right. And the scope's still showing, well, there it goes. Went to sleep. All right. Yep. It looks like we found the culprit. Let's get the scan tool hooked back up, and just to verify that the only module we can't talk to now is the rear gate module. Well, this has gotten a little bit more confusing. So I would thought the rear gate was causing our issue. I'm not quite so sure. I really don't know. We've got one connector back there unplugged, and I've done a rescan, and the rescan tells me something I didn't think I would see. I've got my list here of the control modules that wasn't talking when I had that unplugged. So now I've got one wire unplugged, and I went through these again. So TPMS, let's see, right here, TPMS, OCP, that is still no comm. Now the next is rear. Rear is still a no comm. And then we have ERA and KG. So we got ERA back and KG is back. Well, rear is the rear SAM, and OCP is the overhead console or overhead control panel. Those two on the wiring diagram come from C5. Well, I know y'all probably ain't gonna see my finger in that, but they come from C5 right here on the diagram over, and GL right here loops up into the rear SAM and then up to the overhead control. So it is now looking like we've either got a rear SAM issue or an overhead control panel issue. You gotta follow the data. This is where the data is taking us. Oh man, we're about, overall, I think I'm about 5 hours into this parasitic drain. Oh man, things like this is why you really got to communicate with your customer, like expectations, like, you know, time wise we could be around this, time wise we could be this, worst case scenario we could be this. You've got to, you know, communicate that to your customers. Make sure they understand that, hey, this could be a 2-hour diag, could be a 6 or an 8 hour diag. You don't know, you just got to follow the data. And so far the data is taking us on a trip around this car. So let's see now if we can determine if this is an overhead control panel control module issue or rear SAM. If you don't know what the rear SAM is, I'm pretty sure that's the rear fuse box, basically, yeah. So let's find the overhead control panel, find out where that is. I'm hoping this guy, and unplug that thing and see if our issue goes away. Well, the battery is maintaining and not pulling any current. I think I've accidentally fixed this thing. I had to take a break from it. I was getting a little, I don't know, confused about some things. I couldn't find some things that I wanted to find as far as data and things. And I was noticing some little things that was kind of throwing me off. If you kind of remember early on in the video, I'd said this person had changed the rear gate latch. I think I told you that. If not, they replaced the latch in the basically the lift gate. And I think when I left off the last clip, it's been probably like a week now. I literally had to take a break from it. I couldn't process things, so it's best to kind of just walk away for a little while, come back a little fresh. And yesterday or the day before, I was kind of tinkering around with this thing, and in the last clip, right after that clip, I'd noticed something about it, something that it was doing that I hadn't previously noticed. The dome lights and stuff was staying on for a while. So like right now, this door is tripped. So if I unlatch it, you see we got dome lights there. If I latch this back, I've got the rear opened also, but these should time out. If all the doors are shut, these should time out after about 15-20 seconds. I was noticing that they would just stay on a lot longer than that. And I was down to kind of figuring out that something off the rear CAN bus back here was causing the issue. And I basically narrowed it down to I could unplug the rear SAM, which also feeds, I think this is a rear SAM, but either way, I could unplug the line that goes to the rear SAM, which also feeds the overhead console module, or I could unplug this very bottom line that goes to the keyless go module. So that it left me down with 3 modules: rear SAM, overhead console, and keyless go. I could unplug any of those 3, or well, pretty much I could unplug that up there, the vehicle would go to sleep. I could unplug the line back here that goes to the rear SAM, and that it goes to sleep. So rear SAM may not do anything, but definitely unplugging that or the keyless go would let the thing go to sleep. And if you see here, I've got this took apart. They replaced this latch right here. I know you guys ain't gonna see in here, and forgive the lighting, it's a little dim in the shop here. We've got to add some lights and change out these old fluorescents, so we've got some work to do. But anyways, I basically narrowed it down to kind of 3 modules that was keeping the network going, keeping it awake. And I basically was down to, okay, it's got a door open because the dome lights are staying on. If I take this and shut this, it'll probably go to sleep. The lights will probably go off and everything after about 10 or 15 seconds. We'll see here. But anyways, I see already off. Those stayed on. So I was like, what is keeping this awake? I could only find door triggers basically for the 4 doors. I couldn't find data for that rear gate. Not something that I thought was like, that's it, that latch is not working or anything like that. I never could find a data PID for that. What I did find is a initialization function basically to relearn the entire rear lift gate. And if y'all remember, in the first of the video, I had this thing open, and this thing's like kind of hard to open. Come on. You're not gonna open? Ah, see? It's gonna act up now. Come on, let's try this again. Okay. It's like this button in here is like really, you gotta really pull on it. Okay. So it's gonna go up now. But you might have remembered that this thing would only open to about right here. Yeah, so now we've got the full opening because I initialized everything, like reinitialized it, made it relearn, and in the relearn, it actually relearns this latch when it's closed all the way. And ever since I've relearned the latch, it's been going to sleep. I don't. Who would have thought replacing a latch could cause a battery drain? It was kind of weird. I also took this out. Apparently, this little release is broke, and they had that tied around that. But I took it out just in case it was causing some issues as well. They're not going to worry about this thing. It's kind of crappy. It's actually riveted on here, so you can't even just change this very easily. You got to drill it out to replace that. So they're not really too worried about that. I mean, it's only like kind of an emergency if you're in the back stuck to open that. Kind of doesn't really make sense. You can just crawl out the front if you need to. So we're not worried about that. It's better than having a little wire hanging out of the plastic. So this was really confusing. I still have not found a data PID really that tells me if that latch is ajar or not. I only found a data PID that was like a learned position kind of thing, and it really kind of seemed more like it was for the door than the latch right there. Been editing this video all morning. I definitely struggled with this one because apparently when my laptop did some updates back at the end of October or something like that, the resolution changed on it, and that threw off my screen capture software. So that's why all my screen captures from my laptop have been cropped a lot in the Mustang video and this Mercedes video. After the editing the Mustang video, I figured out what happened. So after this video, that'll be fixed. But another issue I ran into was I had one more clip for this car, and the screen capture off my scan tool, I guess I didn't save it or accidentally deleted it somehow. I'm not sure. It's missing. But I was going to show just some data PIDs that I'd found, and one of them was something called like a rotary tumbler, something like that. And I had noticed when I was looking through data PIDs, I found that one, and it said when the door was shut, it said first detent. After I relearned the door, I can't remember what it said, but doing some research, it's apparently a potentiometer in there that it's actually learning to know when the latch is fully shut or not. And that was the thing the initialization actually relearned, was the potentiometer that's built into the latch. So I'm not really sure why it didn't always say the gate was open. It's only after, you started moving it for a little bit, it popped up that warning message. One thing I did find a TSB about those latches going bad, causing not a battery drain, but the light to come up on the dash randomly. And I'm not sure why they replaced the latch. I have no idea why. They just told me they replaced it because it was bad. Couldn't get anything else out of them but that. But it does need relearned, and apparently if it's not relearned, it can cause a battery drain, but that is not listed in the TSB at all. it was just really strange. And what I kind of determined through this whole thing is the reason why when one module, I could unplug one module and everything go to sleep, like the overhead console, is it kind of broke the data communication logic of like one module saying, hey, I've got a door open, and it reporting to another module saying, hey, there's a door open, let's stay awake. When I kind of broke that communication chain, both of them seem to be happy and go to sleep. I can't explain it. That is really threw me for a loop on this car. I struggled with that so much, and I still don't even know fully how to explain it, but that's the best I can explain it. And at the end of the part one, I asked you guys what you thought about that CAN bus, and you're exactly right. It is an interior CAN bus, 0 to 4 and 5 to 1. You guys are exactly right. I did find that information later while I was working on this car. I had this car for over a month. My total time invested in it was about 16 hours. After the last clip, that was filmed November 25th, and I had that car for a whole nother week, just driving it like every other day, and perfectly fine, no other issues with it. So that's it on this car. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys later.